Welcome back, everybody, to another Indie Game Spotlight recap for the month of November 2019. We had so many games, I can't believe we made it to a fourth video. But if you are new, I'll include links to the other three parts down below. All the games you're going to see were submitted by developers, and if you'd like me to play your game on a future stream, please don't hesitate to get in touch. But we are now turning to the game, the Donnerwald Experiment. This is an RPG that's currently on early access, and it's quite different in terms of what they're trying to approach in terms of RPG design as well as the early access period. We played this during, it was kind of like the first week or so of being on early access. I think it was maybe even a week before. So they're going to be doing different updates. They're going to add more to the game, flesh out the systems, as well as raise the price of it during the early access period. And I'll leave that up to you to decide whether or not that is a smart move. But the game that we have right now is kind of like a JRPG take on Nightmare on Elm Street, if that makes any sense. The story is that our main heroine there has been infected by a strange dream disease that has killed her creativity and will slowly kill her for real. And the only way to figure out what's going on is to enter the dream realm and fight the dream demon that has stopped us. And yes, I am saying it exactly how the game explains it here. So the game itself plays out in kind of 2D platforming / action adventure, and then you go into JRPG style puzzles for actual combat. Each character that you'll meet is a unique NPC and has their own skills, abilities, and other unique factors as well. The UI at the moment is, well, it's serviceable. It feels again like it's kind of designed around a tap or touch-based interface. But one thing that I do like is that the game seems to want to do a lot in terms of making combat more reactive compared to other games on the market. There's a lot of elements from stuff like the Paper Mario franchise, with being able to properly time button presses for attacks and defense. And the overworld exploration does feature various items, hidden areas, and puzzles. Now, one thing is that the game does have a day-night cycle, and this kind of revolves around certain quests or certain story elements coming into play. And the game hinted at being able to push time forward and trying to move along the main story or find specific events, which at this point in time we didn't really get a chance to look at that too much. With all that said, the Donnerwald Experiment, it has some good ideas in terms of the storytelling and kind of more active turn-based combat, but there's a lot that really remains to be seen if the game's not able to pull it all together. The version that we played on stream is noticeably lacking in terms of a lot of the story and promised subsystems, and you can find that on the Steam's landing page for it. And it's rare to see an RPG, any kind of linear-based title, go on early access like this. So unfortunately, it means that we really couldn't give this game a really good look in terms of what is all going to come together. There are a lot of great ideas, but I still don't know if it's going to become a cohesive whole at the end of the day. With that said, because we are at the end of our spotlight, we're going to do our Patreon supporter and sponsor shout out now. And when we come back, we'll take a look at the final game that made it for November Spotlight. We finally made it to the end, people. But see you all in a second. And now for a quick thank you to our current Game Wisdom Patreon supporters and sponsors. And if you'd like to continue this discussion on game design, be sure to check out our Discord channel, linked down below. If you're looking for more wisdom about game design, be sure to check out my latest offering of books, 20 Essential Games to Study, aimed for first-time developers and students looking for some inspiration for their upcoming games, and Game Design Deep Dive Platformers if you're interested in anything regarding 2D and 3D platforming design. They're both available in print, digital, and wherever books are being sold. For our final game of November Spotlight, we turn to Fury Unleashed. This is another early access title, and it is an action roguelike. Or, I'm not sure we'll call it a roguelike or roguelite right now, but the concept is pretty original. We play a comic book character essentially trying to fight through his creator's various works to try and figure out why the creator has become depressed. And doing that is basically about you going around and killing all the bad guys that you can find. Now, you have access to your main weapon, a secondary weapon, as well as your melee. And the game does come with couch co-op as well, which we could not get a chance to test out in this play. But at the moment, the game is built around 3 different comic books or biomes. The world itself is procedurally built. It looks like the rooms themselves are handmade, but their actual order on the map, as you see right there, is completely shuffled. You'll also find additional events, including mini-boss fights, as well as basically other comic book characters who may give you specific upgrades or challenges. If you look in the upper right hand corner of the screen right now, you'll see a purple resource and a gold one. The purple resource is experience, which again features a persistent layer of you unlocking new upgrades and passive perks after a match is over. There's also a quote-unquote hardcore mode that has you only getting perks during an individual run and not having any persistence there. And we did not get a chance to try that one out on stream. But with all that said, Fury Unleashed definitely has some really great elements to it. I like the kind of comic book aesthetic and theme. All the weapons, upgrades, and etc. that you find are referenced as basically features in this imaginary comic book series. And the game does do a really good job kind of breaking its own, fourth wall, in a matter of speaking, with kind of how the narrative plays out. With that said, in terms of any kind of issues or problems with the game right now, in the version that we played, there is no ending to the game. That will most likely come when the game is officially released at 1.0, and at this moment we don't know when that's going to be. The basic moment-to-moment gameplay does work, but it does feel a little bit repetitive. If you're hoping for crazy modifiers and kind of like that progressively insane power curve that we see in other roguelites, you're not going to find that with Fury Unleashed, at least not at the moment. All your major upgrades are going to be weapon-based, and you do unlock additional weapons that can show up in subsequent runs as you play, but at the moment there definitely seems to be de facto best weapons in the game. And once you have them, or if you don't get them, it's going to have a major impact in terms of the overall difficulty. I would also suggest kind of rebuying the controls at the moment, because they did feel kind of awkward, and trying to make things more focused with dashing, as opposed to what's set up right now. While the game does say that you can play with a gamepad, because of the focus of aiming, especially with some of the more active fights like this one, it does feel better in your hands to do this with keyboard and mouse. Fury Unleashed does work, I think, in its moment-to-moment. I really did enjoy the game, and we actually, in a strange twist of fate, finished the main content on our stream of it. And I'm hoping to see more in terms of that persistent layer, or in terms of more challenges, when the game is finally finished, or at least finished enough to go into 1.0. Other than that, there really isn't much else to say about it. If you enjoyed kind of these action-based roguelikes, like A Robot Named Fight or Spelunky, definitely give Fury Unleashed a check. And with that, we are finally done with November's Indie Spotlight recap. Just in time to do December's video in a few days, or in the stream. As always, if you'd like to submit games for a future piece, please don't hesitate to get in touch. No matter how big or small the game is, I'm always happy to take a look at them. Come back for daily discussions on game design here and on game wisdom, where is the art and science of games. And I will see you all for our next stream. Once again, thank you to all the devs who submitted games, and I hope you enjoyed everything. Take care. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed things, be sure to do all the liking and subscribing that the kids are doing these days. Check out our Discord channel link down below where we hang out and chat game design, and come back later tonight for our regular streamings. But that's it, and tune in for more great content here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games.